I call Poto Williams.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I rise to take a call on the third reading of this bill, and just want to pick up where the Minister left off, I guess, in terms of her raising the issue of trust and confidence of the community sector in the Charities registration process. And what I want to say about that is actually it's my understanding and my belief that it was the eagle eyes of certain charities organisations, certain community organisations that saw within the Statutes Amendment Bill a possibility that rights to charitable organisations could be somewhat diminished should the Statutes Amendment Bill go through as it was originally drafted. So they actually presented to the Government Administration Select Committee and were very vocal about this particular section. Following briefings with the Ministry of Justice and the Department of Internal Affairs, that section was actually carved out and became the Charities Amendment Bill. Mr Speaker, the organisations that presented on that submitted to this particular piece of legislation were doing so because they wanted to get a sense of confidence that their rights to appeal decisions made by the Charities Registration Board would still continue. And despite the various pieces of work done by officials, evidence presented by officials, that particular sector was not actually feeling a sense of confidence that that would occur, despite the assurances of the Minister that the bill was to ensure that their rights of appeal would remain in place. The sector was not entirely comfortable with it. And that led us to, on the committee itself, wanting to ensure that one particular section was withdrawn, which we were able to do. What I want to do is also just at the committee stage, reiterate something that the Minister said at the committee stage, because I challenged an issue that had been raised with me. I challenged the Minister on her ability to actually have a robust relationship with the sector. And the Minister did say that she had been, and I quote her, "I have been the Minister now for 5 of the last 8 years, and I have seen a distinct change in terms of confidence and also the working relationship between the government and the sector. And I have to say they know my number and I know theirs, and we have a full and frank exchange of ideas and views." And Mr Speaker, I thought that that was a very bold statement, so I decided to actually ask members of the community and voluntary sector whether they agreed with that statement, and I got a range of responses back from the sector. Here's one such response. "Absolutely not. There is no increase in confidence. In fact, the opposite is true. The Minister should stop listening to the sycophants, mainly the preferred providers run by large corporates and much loved by this government, and start looking at the lived reality of too many of its citizens." Another response, Mr Speaker, which I think is very telling. "Even if we have a full and frank exchange of ideas and views, it's a question of whether our perspective is given any credence. Often a minister is so wedded to the party line that everything is wonderful and they just don't take us seriously. If we persist in pushing a view that there are problems with any particular government policy, then we can face retaliation through media and through subsequent funding decisions." Now, this was a concern that was raised with us by many, has been raised with us by many community organisations over the last 5 or 6 years. But this is the last comment I want to make, Mr Speaker, and I think it's very telling on the amount or the lack of confidence that the sector has in the Minister. The other aspect is that the community organisations generally take into account in their dealings with ministers as well as officials that no matter how inept or lacking in insight they are, we still have to work with them. So there is no gain in antagonising them needlessly. We put up with their willful, ignorant positions because we have no choice. Now, that doesn't sound like a resounding vote of confidence in the Minister and her robust
I'm sorry to interrupt the member, but the time has come for me to leave the chair. The debate is interrupted and set down for resumption next sitting day, and the House is suspended, and I will resume the chair at 9 a.m. tomorrow for the extended sitting. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.